Well, good evening to you. Curious to see whether or not it's on my headset. Hopefully, you guys can hear me rather well. It's another episode of Spencer Uncensored. I'm Spencer Combs, and I believe that professional development always happens on the backside of personal development. And so, this episode, Spencer Uncensored, is episode number 77. We've been doing this for a little while. It wasn't necessarily intended to be going on forever, but we'll see how much longer we'll go. It'd be kind of cool if we got to at least 100 of these episodes. We're going to be changing a lot of different things. Oh, hey, Carla. Good to see you. We're going to be changing some things in the near future. But let me give you, like I normally do, give you a quick update on what's coming down the pipeline, what we're working on, and maybe in the house too. Good to see you, bud. Anyway, so a couple of things, probably three really big things that we're working on right now. I am going to lose you there along the way. Yeah, man, the lighting seems a little funny, but hopefully you guys are good. You guys there? No, you guys aren't saying anything. You're getting real quiet on me. All right, three big things I'm working on right now. We are in the process of getting the book squared away. That's probably the biggest thing that I have going on. And there's about 53 people right now that have it. I've already gotten three responses with all their, their reviews and feedback. So that's phenomenal. We got 50 more in the pipeline. I'm hearing from a lot of you, but three that are officially completed. Like, this is what we think, and this is our little marketing blurb for you. So those are exciting. Those have been good, and we're working on getting that squared away. The goal is to have all that in by the middle of the month. So that gives us about 2 to 3 weeks with my book editor. We're working on then reapplying all the feedback and getting the information back into Momentum and Mastery. That's the book. So Momentum and Mastery, the ebook version of it, should be coming out early part of August, and then we'll have an official book launch August the 23rd. Now, the reason why August 23rd is important is because that's thing number 2 that we're working on, and that is the Unshakable Weekend Event. Now, I don't want to necessarily spend the entire night tonight telling you all about the event, but maybe I should give you a little bit of a sneak peek on what we're doing with this. In the past, we used to do what we called empowering events. We changed it to even a momentum launch. We've had different names we've called it, but basically we have now we've turned it into a 3-day deal. And the reason for that is because when I did it in 1 days, everybody the biggest feedback I always got was people telling me, man, this was just a lot of information in a very short period of time. It would be great if you could do it over a couple of days. And so now we start in the middle of the day on Friday. And so we have a whole afternoon and get into the evening, and we have a breakthrough exercise toward the end of that day. But Fridays are really about the momentum framework from Momentum and Mastery. And it's a drift to drive overview. And we get down into some of that conversation, and then we do a breakthrough exercise. You will walk away on Friday night feeling extremely jacked and primed for what we do all day Saturday. Because then Saturday, all day, we get together and we work on the mastery framework. So you would have a goal at this point. You'd have some information that you were going to work towards. And then we start stacking and building through the 5 building blocks of the mastery. So the mastery framework, right? The qualified champions framework is technically the name of it. And so we do all that all day long on Saturday. And so then you go and rest a little bit. You come back on Sunday, and Sunday we get out around 3:00. But Sunday, you then integrate all that information and you walk away with a very clean and specific plan on what you're going to do. And we get you into a rhythm on how to follow the feedback. It's the big part of what we're doing. These immersion programs are, in fact, the most powerful way to create a big shift in your life. Because I think most of the time we hear a video like this, we watch a little video like this, we read a book, we listen to an audio book, we get these little inspirational things all the time. We might even go to a class for about an hour or two, and we get enough awareness of what needs to be done, but we don't actually make the adjustments. These type of immersion events where you go away and you get involved with other people that are supporting you and get involved and get deep into your own personal needs and what you're going for and what you're doing. When you walk away, the transformational shift is ridiculous. It's much of what made the difference for me in my life, because I had a lot of challenges with how things happened for me as I was growing up. And it was a lot of these personal development events that made a huge difference. And even some of the business ones that I went to, right? I can remember going to a Craig Proctor seminar for like 4 days and just going and being at another venue around other performers, people that were interested in growing, right? Not the whining and the bitching and the complaining, but people that were wanting to get somewhere. When you're in that environment, it makes a big difference on you because you start to see, you get new frames of references is what it's really referred to. So we're working on that. The first one's going to be in South Carolina. Got a gracious little spot that we've been able to put together at a Marriott there, Courtyard. That's August the 23rd through the 25th. So we're excited about that. We really are. It's the first one that we're doing, long, and we're also going to launch the book that same weekend. So I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people there. That's in Columbia, South Carolina. You actually can get all that information if you go to spencercombs.com. It's there on, I think it's on the front page. If it's not on the front page, you can actually, let me give you a little trade secret, a little side secret. Y'all interested? If you went to the ticketing site right now, it's going to give you a price that's a lot more than what I can actually offer for you. So if you message me, I will send you a different link that has a lower price point, and it doesn't just have one ticket. It has two. Yeah. So anyway, that's big thing number two, right? The book, and then number two is the event. I can't overemphasize the amount of impact that gets created, the life shift that gets created when you go to an actual event like that. So, now to get more people there, the other thing, I told you there's three things, right? And I teach this to you guys with business, right? You should have about, I usually call it 3 lanes, right? 3 lanes of business, things that you're working on. The third one for me is really a lead generation avenue. And it's multi-pronged in the sense that I need to get up and speak in more places. And so I am actively looking for additional, we just booked 2 places, not far from in that Columbia area because we're going to come and do a 1.5 hour program to let people, what my coach calls, taste the ice cream, right? And once I get in front of you and you hear a little bit more about what we're doing and how we're doing it, you're going to be interested in a little bit more of it because you realize the experiential difference that happens and how it can change the trajectory of what you're going to get. So I'm looking for places to go and speak, about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. I can scale it back to 20 minutes if I have to, but 20 minutes to an hour, hour and a half is really an optimal amount of time to really get through it. And what we do is I teach the 3 secrets. If you want to know about that, you can actually go to unshakablesecrets.com. We're going to have a web class on July 25th, I think it is, or 27th. It's on the site. But unshakablesecrets.com is kind of our primary web class lead generation avenue that also is tied to the book. So if you go to one, the other one's going to get introduced to you. And then I've also got a 10 business tips that we're doing for the make your best 90 days ever. That is on the website also. Oh, it's a lot of information, I know. Here's what I'm going to talk to you real quick about in addition to all of this. We're getting a lot of conversations recently of people who are just really, I guess, tired. Not feeling it. I included, right? And sometimes you get to that point where it's just, you're right there right there. You're just right there. And you got to keep moving forward. My bracelet says it, keep moving forward. You guys can see it because it's backwards, but it says keep moving forward. And you have to start negotiating with your own mind. And then you have to interrupt it and then redo it, right? One of the things you can do, a tip that you can do with that conversation in your mind is make sure you pay attention to the successes that are going on, because that's typically where we start losing energy And here's what I mean by that. If something goes well for you, even though you may be in a bad state of being or something's just not well or whatever in your life, when something goes right, anything goes right, we have a tendency to downplay it. Our brain kicks in with things like, you're just lucky there, or that we downplay it, and we don't necessarily give it any kind of positive energy at all when it happened like it was supposed to happen, right? I'll give you an example of how people do it for you, even though your brain does it for yourself. I got a text message from a real estate agent that said to me, I listed a home at like 9 a.m. or something, and by 11 o'clock, I already had a buyer, and it was on paper, or we were getting it to paper. So they sold it in 2 hours, right? Well, of course, you're going to get the messages on the DMs that talk about, well, was that is this your, lucky, blah, 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 bullshit. But back off. First of all, you don't even know the whole story, so why are you going to just make the assumptions, right? But you don't even need outside people to make comments like that. Because even in your own mind, you have moments where you say, I was just lucky. Well, truth is that you have been prepared, right, to say things. You were prepared for that serendipity. Because even if opportunity shows up, not everyone necessarily knows even what to do with that opportunity, but you did, right? So when we have moments of success, number one, we need to do something physical to interrupt interrupt the pattern. And what I mean by that is when something goes right, you need to give yourself some kudos. So you can do, as cliche as it sounds, and I've gotten this from other people, but yes, doing this kind of thing, or whatever, right? You can hand clap, give yourself a high five, do whatever, but you need to do something physical, and you need to probably say the word yes or whatever word makes sense to you anytime something moves in the right direction, because what you're looking to do is interrupt your little voice that's telling you stupidity. Okay? It's not helping you. So you need to interrupt it somehow. That's one of the things you can do. So anything you do well, you do right. Right? Somebody answers the phone, you manage to close and set an appointment, even though you might have thought you could have done better, but you still set the appointment. Yes, right? Whatever. The more you do this, the more you're creating an anchor. Okay? And NLP, it's a neurological association. So what's happening is that I can now essentially, when I get into a bad place and I do the same anchor, I actually will fire off the same chemicals that I had when things were going positive, as long as it was a strong enough one, right? Strong enough anchor. I can collapse anything else around it. Another example of an anchor that I actually use for myself is I touch my chest right here, and I do that with things that I want in my life. It's a conversation around being bigger, right? So every day when I'm walking and I go past that house that I want that's near the river or on the river, right? When I see the address, I touch my chest. I look at it and I get into a state and I touch my chest. Right now, by doing that just now, it causes me to get into an even more intense level of emotion. Okay. So anchor the positive moments with some sort of physical action. Second thing you can do is make sure that when your mind does say something stupid, you can say, well, first of all, just understand, you don't have to believe everything your brain says. Just because your mind said it doesn't mean it's true. Okay? So if your mind says something like, well, that was just lucky, whatever. I can't even think of the different things that people's minds will kick in with, but anything that doesn't necessarily serve you, you can rephrase it, right? So you can just say, that's not true. I was prepared. Or you can attribute things to, the Lord helped me with this, or I was able, whatever. But at the end of the day, I had a difficult conversation with someone, I think it was yesterday. Wasn't totally sure what I needed to say, and then all of a sudden it just came to me. I could have got off that call and said, man, you could have done so much better. But instead, because of all of your training in the past, stuff just come out of you, right? Your preparation allowed you to be able to say the things that person needed to hear. I got so many books, and I constantly remember the verse in Proverbs that the preparation of the heart is in man. The answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Meaning, only thing I can really focus on or work on is what I pour into this, right? So when your brain says something stupid, correct it. To say something along the lines of, I'm grateful for the progress, right? I'm amazed at my progress. I'm preparing and becoming bigger, right? At every moment, whenever something comes at you like that. And at every moment of success, you can also increase you can forward cast that same energy to the rest of your day or the rest of your week. So something goes well early in the morning, right? Yes. I'm glad that I was able to get in here and make that happen. And that means, this is the third piece, the rest of my day is going to be even better. And you just keep stacking it through the day, through the week. All right. I've given you enough to think about. At this point, I'm going to ask that if you know anywhere that I should be coming in and doing a conversation, whether that's in person or live or on Zoom or anything like that, I would love to do that. Basically, I'm bringing the web class live to small groups of 10 or more. So I would love that so that we can move this event around. I really want to be getting into a rhythm of doing the event because it's the most impactful thing I can do. It is the most impactful thing I can do. Get people 3 days in that room, I'm telling you. So any opportunities for that, reach out and let me know. Until next week, y'all keep well and keep moving forward. Thanks for being here.